Kathy Goodson, Goodson Vintage Treasures. In this video, I take glass canisters I bought at a thrift store. I update them with paint, a little bit of black ink, the classic pots transfer, and the Crockery stamp, which is very popular that I now have back in stock. You can find all these products at GoodsonVintageTreasures.com or on Etsy at Goodson Vintage. Or if you're local, you can find them at just around the corner in Lincolnton, North Carolina, and I sell the paint at Picket Fence Antiques More in Newton, North Carolina. Watch and learn how. For this project, you'll need some little black dress, DIY paint, beadboard, which is white, and some Big Top. I took a canister I found at the thrift store. First, I'm going to paint the canister black. That's so I can rub back and distress back to the black. First, I cleaned it well, and then I cleaned it with alcohol. So first, I'm using a little black dress. I gave it a good coat of paint, and then let it dry. When the paint was dry, I sealed it with a coat of Big Top. I put my Big Top in a little cup to keep it separate from the jar, because if you dip back into the jar, you can contaminate it and it might get a little odor. It doesn't hurt the paint, but it can kind of have a funny smell. So always pour your Big Top into a little container first. And I gave it one good coat. Once the Big Top is dry, I gave it a coat of white paint. In this case, I used Beadboard, a nice DIY color. This container, I wet distress it, taking a warm cloth and wiping the white off on the edges back to the black, and it still doesn't black wash off because of the Big Top. Later on, I found a better way to make this same look without having to do all this rubbing paint off. So stay tuned for that. Next, it's time for another coat of Big Top, because I'm going to add a transfer to this one. Although you're going to find out that the transfer did not work too well. Of these classic pots transfers, so I chose one and decided to put it on this smaller jar I had painted earlier. With the Big Top, it should have stuck quite easily, but I had some trouble transferring this one. To transfer it, you just take the little tool that comes with the transfer and you rub it onto your piece. This one I already had Big Top on it. Maybe I didn't let it dry enough, but for some reason I had a little trouble transferring it. I did finally get it to transfer, but if I had to do this again, I would wait overnight for the Big Top to dry. putting on the transfer, put one more coat of Big Top on it to protect the transfer. These are not dishwasher safe. You will have to hand wash these. Don't forget to like this video, make a comment, and subscribe. Since I had so much trouble with the transfer, I decided to try the Crockery stamp. This is a set of stamps from Iron Orchids. I used the black ink, which is a permanent ink. I also decided to distress it by using the stamp pad. Instead of rubbing the paint off, I just stamped black ink on the corner, and actually it looked exactly the same. So I chose several of the stamps. There are quite a few in the set. You just take the stamp, take your ink pad and your permanent ink, take the pad and stamp it on your stamp, inking it up carefully. And then you just take your stamp, make sure you know which way your pot's going to sit. This one sits like this, and you just stamp it on. Press it and hold it with one hand, and with the other hand go over the whole piece, switching hands. One hand holds, one presses all the pieces down. And look what a great stamp you get. Isn't that great? You can buy a set of the stamps and the ink and the ink pad at my website, GoodsonVintageTreasures.com, and you can make a set of canisters too. I also carry all the paints and the Big Top.